This place, on the kind of May Day that burns the scalp of a man in late middle age, which I am. I say this place because it'll have to remain anonymous for a while longer, pending an explanation. It's, let me get this right, hurts me a little, Shrewsbury, not Shrewsbury, as I grew up saying, and it seems to me that everyone from the West Midlands grows up saying. I think it offends quite a lot of people. I've been put right numerous times. Some people, some locals, even refer to it as Shrewsbury, I am told, although I've not heard anyone do so. I don't know, I can't shake off my earlier linguistic prejudices. Shrewsbury sounds low and crouching to me, whereas Shrewsbury sounds large and fulsome, opulent. I'll try and temper my desire to say it as I was brought up, but I may slip. Who knows? But what's in a name? A handsome town, a handsome county town, sat comfortably on the island created by a horseshoe loop in the River Severn, like the comfortable basking of a snake. By any other name, would smell as sweet or look as good. We're in the beer garden at the Nag's Head. Unbelievably, particularly for younger viewers, me and a mate of mine used to take the train from Stourbridge Junction to Birmingham New Street, change at New Street for Roehampton, change again for Shrewsbury, and arrive here just to listen to a couple of the tracks on the jukebox, because we had it in our heads that we couldn't get hold of the Holiday 80 EP by the Human League. We certainly couldn't in all of our record shop origins, and that therefore this was the only place to hear it. I used to put Marianne on ceremoniously every time we came in here. It must seem strange to folk nowadays to make such a gargantuan quest for something which can be summoned via a voice command to Alexa, and soon probably by a thought. But I can't help thinking that the pearls for which we dived shone a little brighter as a result of that quest. I also was coming here for 20 years before I realised that there was a beer garden, let alone one so magnificently adorned with medieval wooden timber framing. And I was always waylaid by the jukebox and never got outside. Is that what death is like? Is it like being in the Nag's Head, not venturing further than the door by the jukebox because the jukebox engrosses you like the minutiae of life? When I pass on, will I suddenly become aware of a great space outside, an ante room, similarly adorned, that has been there all along? Do you realize as if in testimony, it's still a great jukebox. In the proximity of the Severn, I always think of that great sun-soaked, basking British snake, its head in Wales and its tail in England, or pointing towards. It's a handsome town, as I said. It seems to be under no obligation to be so as well. It's difficult to know why that is. Some towns feel fragile in their beauty, that this or that placed here awry could set the whole thing a tumble. It feels like it could casually shrug off a modern development, a bit of scruffiness here and there, and remain intact. We came here a long time ago, me and you, didn't we, Lee?
Yeah.
Back in 2011, 2012. It's a little bit like that disagreement amongst the Doctor Who canon as to whether it's the late 70s or early 80s.
Just to point out, we've been here several times. It's not that that was the last time either of us came to Shrewsbury.
No, good God, no. No, but we filmed
here
very, very early on when we were flailing around for things to say and things to see. And there's a lot of water under the English and the Welsh bridge since then. A lot has changed in the world. If you had to bullet point it, Lee, what do you think are the most important changes?
You're seriously putting me on the spot there.
I am seriously putting you on the spot.
AI, but that's on my mind a lot at the moment. Of course, the headlong descent into fascism would be another one.
Yeah.
Bit of politics in Cummings Your Way. Don't usually do it.
You can tell I'm getting near retirement, can't you?
Yeah. That was a bit of big two, really, because I think a lot of things are linked
the
to
smartphone.
Yeah. Its ubiquity, yeah.
And the fragmentary nature of conversation and interaction as a result, the dissolution of family life, the fact that the workplace now extends its tendrils into your family home via, Teams meetings, etc. And there's always something, well, this needs doing now, that interrupts the domestic flow that the electronic device demands. But I would think that there'd be others who had a more positive spin, I'm sure. But here, down on the banks of the Severn, there's a little bit more of a permanent feel than any of those things, because when all of those things are gone, this, I think, will still be here. Not necessarily the magnificent bridge with its downward swooping fish carved in darkening and ever darkening stone, but the sounds and the scents and the water and the land, long before us and long after.
Also, I've got another entry into our occasional series of your clothes matching with the architecture.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, I think there's they go very well.
Yeah.
With the stonework here.
Absolutely, and my cornflower blue face, which just sets it off a treat.
That goes with everything.
Absolutely, it's been said before. Any film involving me is always going to be in danger of groaning a little under the weight of Ecclesiastica, and none more so than one in this particular place. It's absolutely replete with church architecture, to the extent that you have to prioritise. I think we'll choose this beautiful, cool, pink sandstone edifice, the Abbey itself, almost sitting apart from the rest of the town. Almost as if it knows that it needs to stand to one side in order not to overwhelm the viewer and make them lose interest in the other churches. It feels like it should be high up in the centre of town and has been displaced, but happily so. As I say, it's a lovely, lovely space full of lofty arches and that particular delicacy of the stone. So yeah, this place, St Chad's, St Mary's, will have to do us.
You know a lot more about church architecture than me, obviously. It's not really a specialist subject of mine, but you'll have to explain to me what Elastica have got to do with it.
I think they were in, I think they featured in some of the episodes of Cadfael that were filmed in here.
Did they soundtrack it?
Yeah, with Derek Jacobi. Like, you know, like they used to have a band in The Young Ones.
Yeah.
In the middle, I think. I've never seen Cadfael, but that's how I imagine it.
That explains it. I mean, I never watched it, so I'll have to take your word for it, but that does make sense.
That's how I imagine it. Me and my friend Andy Copson parked along the street behind us one Saturday afternoon in 1995 and stayed in a B&B just around the corner from here. We ended up in a nightclub in the centre of town, which I'm told is still there. And after a few minutes on the dance floor, found ourselves surrounded on all sides by people indulging in a synchronised dance routine to Wigfield's Saturday Night. I tried desperately and unsuccessfully to fit in. You could say it's been the story of my life.
You know what I'm going to say here about dance routines, don't you?
Go on.
Well, for years I've wanted to replicate the dance routine at the gas station from Tears for Fears. Everybody wants to rule the world.
Yeah.
And we've got to do it.
Have we got to? In Shrewsbury, shortcuts are shortened to shuts, and we're in one here, just between Bare Steps and the marketplace. Always etched into my memory, for I used to have a book called Short Walks in English Towns, and it had a picture of that wall there, and whoever had vetted the image had failed to notice that scrawled here was the legend Telford Slags. Always used to make me chuckle. Pure I know. Suppose it's the existence of places like the King's Head behind us, sagging sumptuously out into the street through the centuries, that engenders that sense of the casual nature of the relationship between the ancient and modern in this town, the way they shrug each other off and pay cursory attention to one another. There's a fragment of a wall painting of the Last Supper in there, sitting nonchalantly, ignored by many within, along with a fragment of a memory from me of dancing on the table to One Step Beyond by Madness at about 2:00 on a Wednesday afternoon, while the barman looked impassively on. Different times.
Sumptuously sagging, you say?
Sumptuously sagging, I say.
Ooh, suits you, sir.
Suits you, sir. Down by the river in Quantum Gardens, the sculpture Quantum Leap, with its Darwinian memorial associations, makes a curious frame for the leap-dappled sunshine behind it. Puts me in mind of the series, of course. You know, jaunty little theme tune, good sci-fi premise. Where would you leap into? In Cummings' world, that is, if Quantum Leap existed there. Where would you, in fact, where would you most like to be stranded if you had to be stranded, like Sapphire and Steel in the restaurant at the end of the universe? Which Cummings Your Way episode, time of year, and place would you least hate, perhaps, to be stranded in?
Fantastic question that for our massive viewership.
It is, isn't it?
And I think
I always take this into account.
Yes, and I think if we just leave a period of silence here for 10-15 minutes just for them to consider it,
Yeah,
I think that would be great.
It's going to be a toughie for them.
And I'll cut that silence in, and then we'll come back to this bit that I'm about to say.
Duck shots,
montage maybe. But I think having just come up with this completely off the top of my head, having not sat on the bench behind us just now and not considered it, I'm going for Ghent. So not an English one, I'm afraid. I'm going for Ghent.
You can't. I mean, I think Norwich you could do worse.
Would be good
as well. Not outside the Horse and Jockey in Bilston then, with an angry crowd assembling behind you.
Hugely tempting to live forever in a moment where we think we're going to get beaten up.
Yeah, Ambassador, you are already tempting us.
But no, I'm going to skip it. I'm going for Ghent.
Yeah, going for Ghent. What a quiet thrill, stepping out of the sun bleach and shadows into this particular space. Uniquely thrilling, in fact. Slender columns, cool classicism, flagstone floor, brass-plated, numbered box pews, semi-collegiate, all radiating outwards into one glorious circle. What a thing St Chad's is. And to have it all to yourself on a day like today. The essence, the quintessence of civilized trust. I wanted to say something about that view of St Chad's over the quarry, and I stopped when I realised I couldn't pick the right verb. Certain churches loom over their surroundings, some of them crouch, some of them sail. I don't know what St Chad's is doing. What would you say, Lee?
Looks like it's, is it the word hoving into view?
Yeah, like a ship, hoving into view. Yeah, I think that's comfortable enough, isn't it? Not like a great spiky medieval galleon, but like a cool classical vessel. Yeah.
I see you wearing another of my dad's ties.
Yeah, the third and final.
Yeah, so last of Dave's tie trilogy.
Was that the entirety of his collection?
No, it wasn't. There were more. I had a couple, and the rest went off to charity, I think.
As you know, I have nearly 4,000.
Yeah, I know.
Be characteristic of an obsessive or restricted interest.
Have you ever worn one for Cummings Your Way more than once?
No.
No.
Good God, no.
And you never used to wear the same one twice for school?
No. The technician used to take a photo of me in order to try and catch me out, if you remember. But it does beg the question, what are we going to do with mine?
Yeah,
after I pass
on? I think something definitely needs to happen with that tie collection.
Any ideas?
Yeah, I think Black Country Museum.
That's a good call, that is.
Gentleman's Haberdashery place, whatever it's called there.
Their final resting
place. We should go and have a word.
In these days of exponentially escalating autism and ADHD diagnoses, you'll hear people talk about neurodiversity as a fad. But the British have always been neurodiverse, as long as I can remember. We've always been anxious in social situations, entrenched in our rigid behaviour. Go on an intercity train and see the groups of 4 seats, each with one person occupying them, or 2 with one, desperately clutching their bag to the empty seat, praying that no one they don't know will sit next to them. Maybe it's a fragment of that in my personality, nature or nurture, argue it as you will, that makes me seek out these little places, these sanctums of separateness, these multi-rimmed boozers, entering like a hobbit hole, burrowing into the ground and finding these little rooms, ante-rooms, where you can be alone amongst everyone else. There's something very, very comforting about it for me, and very discomforting about the opposite, the pub that is stripped bare, opened up, wide and asunder to the glare of the lights above and without. Here, there's just the summer street outside, tinkling with distant possibility.
Not to mention the fact that you have a habit of really dressing according to your environment.
I suppose I've done it again here, haven't I? Yeah, I've just noticed that, actually, as you said, the particular shade of green. It is some kind of, I don't know.
How have you managed to choose something that blends in with the stone of the bridge, the green here? You know,
innate symbiosis, sort of sartorial symbiosis. That's what we'll call it.
Yeah. Cummings Your Way, of course, isn't the product of neurodiversity.
Is it not?
I think it is.
I can't tell. Well, there you go. Yeah. I can't tell whether you're joking. What does this say about me?
Yeah.
It's good to stand here in the lee of the castle, soaking in that particular warmth that particular sandstone has. A richer russet red than the pinky sandstone of the Abbey. It might be in my mind, but there's a Midlandsness to it. It doesn't have the cold northern grandeur of somewhere like Carlisle, with which it shares its proximity to a handsome station building. It's an important thing, a handsome station building. This place has got one, Bristol's got one, Chester's got one, Stafford used to have one, and you can sense its bereftness, I think, along with several other towns that lost these lovely crenellated neo-medieval edifices. I think it provides a lovely entrance to a lovely town and a lovely point of leaving too. A nice circularity and a lovely point, counterpoint, contrast in terms of the stone and in terms of the tone of the stone. Great stuff, but it's a lovely place and a good place to end.
Should we go and get in the car then?
Yeah, actually I'm not really comfortable with the train. Public transport, I would have to sit next to somebody else, wouldn't I? If I had a 4, then I might have someone else sitting with me on one of the other 3 seats. I wouldn't like that.